So I was just driving by and I noticed that Sam's Ford here in Corpus Christi has an F450 Limited. Let's stop and take a look at some of the differences. Now guys, it's pretty much the exact same truck I have. A lot of people wonder if I should have held off for a limited package instead of my King Ranch, but in my opinion, they're both pretty much the exact same truck. The big difference with the limited, and I don't have the keys to this truck, is that you get this two-tone interior with the limited badging on the seat and on the center console, and then up top you get a suede headliner. But besides that, it's really the exact same truck. The only feature that this truck really has that mine doesn't is the adaptive cruise control, and the only reason I didn't opt for that was because I knew I'd be putting this big ranch hand bumper on the front of my truck. But besides that, they are utterly identical, except again for the seats and the headliner. It is a pretty looking truck. I have the exact same tailgate on the back of mine, except mine says King Ranch and this one says Limited. Both have the fifth wheel prep package in them. And again, the interiors are virtually identical, and I prefer the King Ranch interior of my truck over the two-tone interior of this truck. And then real quickly, I have a F350 dually here next to my F450, and I want to show you a little bit of difference between the two, because a lot of people believe that the F450 is such a different vehicle than the 350 dually. So if you look at the rear suspension setup on my truck, you see that it has the 4 main leafs with 1 overload leaf. F350, 4 main leafs, 1 overload leaf. The actual spring rate of each leaf is identical on both trucks. There's no difference at all. The axles on the back are exactly the same, the M300 series Dana axle on both trucks. The frame is identical on both trucks. There's absolutely no difference. The only difference really comes to your wheels and tires. Wheels on the F450 are 19.5-inch Alcoa versus the 17-inch Alcoa that come on the F350 dually, which of course give you different tire sizes. Now the F450 tires are going to be a more robust tire because it's a medium-duty commercial-grade tire versus the F350, which uses LT tires. But aside from that, there's no difference. Now, the only difference between these two trucks from a gearing perspective is that the F350 is going to have 410 gearing for its tow package, whereas the F450 is going to have 430 rear end gearing. Also, the half shafts that actually go into the axle housing are going to be slightly larger, as well as larger brakes on the F450 versus the F350. But aside from those subtle differences, there is no difference to the suspension setup in the back end of either of these trucks. The reason why the F350 has a slightly higher payload capacity is because the gross vehicle weight rating of this truck is identical to the 450. They're both 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight ratings. The big difference is the fact that the F450 weighs a little bit more because it has the larger front axle, or the wider front axle on the front. The suspension is slightly different.